Today, we are stepping into the vibrant world of dining out. We are moving beyond the basics of ordering food and diving into the nuances of natural, sophisticated restaurant conversation. While the topic is advanced, I will ensure the language remains clear and accessible, allowing you to follow every concept with absolute confidence. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine walking into an elegant, bustling restaurant. The aroma of delicious food fills the air, the lighting is warm, and you feel perfectly calm because you are ready to communicate in English with style and grace. When a server comes to your table, the conversation usually begins with a polite greeting. You might hear phrases like, "Good evening. Do you have a preference for indoor or patio seating today?" Or, "Welcome. Do you have a reservation or will you be dining as a walk-in guest?" These sentences sound simple, but they set the tone for a respectful interaction. As a customer, you can respond with complete and confident sentences such as, "Yes, I have a reservation under the name Julian, and we requested a booth if possible." Or, "We are a party of 4, and we would appreciate a table in a quieter section of the restaurant." When the server brings the menu, the next part of the conversation focuses on choosing food. You can ask for recommendations in a natural and advanced way by saying, "Could you tell me which signature dishes the chef recommends this season?" Or, "I am looking for something light. Which salad would you suggest?" If you have any dietary needs, you can express them politely by saying, "I have a severe gluten intolerance, so I need to verify which sauces are wheat-free." Or, "I follow a vegan diet, and I was wondering if the soup is prepared with vegetable broth or chicken stock." When you place your order, you can use clear and complete sentences such as, "I would like to order the pan-seared salmon with the lemon butter glaze." Or, "I am interested in the mushroom risotto, but I would like to omit the Parmesan cheese." Speaking politely is very important in restaurant conversations, so you can also add phrases like, "Could we start with a bottle of sparkling water with some lime slices?" Or, "May I have an extra set of silverware for the appetizer?" While waiting for your food, you might need to call the server again to ask a question or to request something else. You can do this naturally by saying, "Excuse me, could I trouble you for a quick moment?" Or, "I would like to double-check if the kitchen can serve the sauce on the side." When your food arrives, it is polite to acknowledge the server with a simple, "That looks lovely, thank you so much." If the meal is not what you expected, you can explain your concern in a respectful and advanced way. You can say, "I believe I ordered the roasted duck, but this appears to be the chicken breast." Or, "The steak seems to be medium rare, and I actually requested it to be well done." When you finish your meal, the final part of the conversation begins. You can ask for the bill with full sentences like, "We are ready to wrap up now. Could we have the check, please?" Or, "When you have a moment, I would like to settle the bill." If you want to pay by card, you can say, "I plan to pay with a credit card. Do you need a signature or a PIN?" If you want to leave a tip, you can express it politely by saying, "I would like to include a 20% gratuity on the card." Simple restaurant conversations become advanced when you speak with clarity, calmness, and polite expressions. This style shows confidence and good communication skills. When you practice these complete sentences often, you will feel comfortable in any restaurant or dining situation in an English-speaking environment. Once you have finished ordering, it is common to engage in small talk with the server or with your dining companions. Simple phrases such as, "Has it been a busy shift for you this evening?" Or, "Is this restaurant known for its seafood or its pasta dishes?" can make the experience more social and enjoyable. Restaurants often provide opportunities to practice English in a natural setting, especially when the staff is friendly and open to conversation. While waiting for your food, you can also ask questions about the menu in more detail. You might say, "I am intrigued by the braised lamb. Is it served with mashed potatoes or roasted vegetables?" Or, "I would like to know if the dressing on the salad is creamy or vinaigrette-based." These questions allow you to practice using polite, complete sentences and show that you are paying attention to details. When your food is served, it is important to comment politely and express your appreciation. Phrases such as, "The presentation is beautiful, thank you," or "The aroma of these spices is incredible and I am eager to taste it," are simple ways to engage in conversation while practicing descriptive language. You can also discuss the taste of the food in full sentences after trying it. For example, "The chef has seared the scallops perfectly. They are tender without being rubbery." Or, "The curry is incredibly aromatic, and the coconut milk adds a nice sweetness." These sentences help learners practice expressing opinions in English clearly and respectfully. During the meal, it is common to request small adjustments or additional items. You can do this in a polite and advanced way by saying, "Could I request a small bowl of chili oil to add some spice?" Or, "I would like a refill on my iced tea whenever you have a chance." Using complete sentences like this ensures that your communication is clear and professional. It is also a great way to learn how to combine different phrases naturally in a conversation. If you notice something missing from your table, you can say, "Excuse me, we seem to be missing the steak knife for this dish." Or, "I would like some cracked black pepper if you have a grinder available." These sentences not only improve your English, but also teach you cultural etiquette in dining situations. Some restaurants also offer daily specials or new dishes, and it is common to ask for details in a polite, confident manner. You can say, "I heard there is a seasonal catch of the day. Could you describe it?" Or, "I am curious about the tasting menu options for this evening." If the server explains the dish, you can respond with appreciation by saying, "That sounds exquisite, and I think I will give it a try." Or, "Thank you for the detailed description. That is exactly what I was craving." These interactions help you practice active listening and responding in full sentences while remaining polite. When dining with friends or family, conversations often shift from food to more general topics. You can practice asking and answering questions naturally. For example, "Have you dined at this specific location before, or just the one downtown?" Or, "Which appetizer do you usually order when you come here?" These questions encourage natural conversation and allow learners to practice using past tense and descriptive adjectives. You can also describe your experience with full sentences such as, "I have sampled several appetizers, and the calamari is definitely the highlight." Or, "The jazz music in the background creates such a sophisticated ambiance." Practicing these sentences strengthens your ability to speak confidently about your experiences. Sometimes you might want to compliment the chef or the restaurant in a more formal way. You can say, "Please extend my compliments to the kitchen team for a flawless meal." Or, "I want to express my gratitude because the flavors were balanced perfectly." These sentences are advanced, but still accessible, and they help learners practice formal expressions that are appropriate in public situations. Compliments like this show cultural awareness and politeness, which is very important in English-speaking countries. If there is a situation where you need to handle a problem with your meal, it is important to use polite but clear language. For example, if you receive the wrong dish, you can say, "Excuse me, I ordered the vegetarian lasagna, but this appears to contain meat." Or, "This soup is a bit lukewarm. Could it be heated up slightly?" Similarly, if something is not cooked properly, you can politely say, "The vegetables are a little too hard for my liking. Could they be steamed a bit longer?" Or, "I believe my salad is missing the avocado that was listed on the menu." Using these full sentences allows learners to practice problem-solving language in a polite and confident manner. After finishing the meal, asking for the bill is a natural part of the conversation. You can say, "We have finished our meal, so could we see the check when you are free?" Or, "I am ready to settle up. Is the service charge already included in the total?" If you want to pay by card, you can add sentences such as, "I would like to use a debit card. Is the machine contactless?" Or, "I need to split the cost between two cards. Can you process that?" These sentences are practical for real-life situations and help learners practice combining polite requests with transactional English. When the meal is over, it is common to thank the server and leave a compliment. You can say, "Thank you for the impeccable service tonight. It made our anniversary special." Or, "I thoroughly enjoyed the experience. The recommendations were spot on." These sentences allow learners to finish the conversation politely and leave a positive impression. Additionally, small talk on the way out can be a way to practice more advanced English. You can say, "I hope the rest of your shift goes smoothly." Or, "It was a delight dining here. We will definitely recommend this place to friends." These phrases encourage natural conversation and help learners feel more confident speaking English in social settings. Some learners may also want to practice conversations when making a reservation in advance. You can call the restaurant and start by saying, "Hello, I am looking to book a table for a business lunch next Tuesday." Or, "I want to secure a reservation for a large group of 10 people." You can ask questions about availability by saying, "Do you have any availability on the rooftop terrace around sunset?" When confirming the reservation, you can use full sentences such as, "Excellent. I will note that down for 8 p.m., and we appreciate the accommodation." These conversations help learners practice polite phone and booking-related language. In more advanced situations, learners can also practice discussing menu items in detail, including ingredients, preparation, and taste. You can ask questions such as, "Could you clarify if the pasta is handmade fresh in the kitchen?" Or, "Is the salmon wild-caught or farm-raised?" When the server explains, you can respond with understanding and interest by saying, "That is good to know, and it makes me want to order it even more." Or, "Thank you for that detail. I prefer wild-caught fish, so I will have that." These sentences allow learners to expand vocabulary while maintaining natural, polite conversation. It is also common to discuss drinks and beverages. You can say, "Could you recommend a full-bodied red wine that pairs well with the steak?" Or, "I am driving today, so do you have any sophisticated mocktail options?" When the server offers suggestions, you can respond with full sentences, such as, "That sounds interesting. I will try the Pinot Noir." Or, "Thank you. I think the cucumber and mint cooler sounds refreshing." Practicing these sentences improves confidence when speaking about different types of food and drink in English. Some restaurants offer desserts, and it is useful to know how to ask about them in full sentences. You can say, Does the chef have a signature dessert that isn't on the menu? Or, I am quite full, but I might be tempted by a light sorbet. When choosing, you can say, I will indulge in the chocolate lava cake. Or, could we order the artisan cheese platter to share? Commenting after trying a dessert is also useful for conversation practice. You can say, the texture of this cheesecake is incredibly smooth. Or, the lemon tart has the perfect balance of acidity and sweetness. These sentences help learners describe tastes and textures clearly while eating. Learners can also practice expressing preferences politely. You can say, I prefer my dressing on the side to control the amount I use. Or, I usually enjoy dishes with a bit of a spicy kick to them. These sentences allow you to practice conditional and preference structures. You can also ask questions about portion sizes in full sentences, such as, is the appetizer platter substantial enough for 3 people? Or, does the main course come with sides, or should I order them separately? This helps learners understand and use quantifiers and practical vocabulary in real-life contexts. Learning simple conversations at a restaurant also includes practicing expressions of gratitude and farewells. You can say, thank you for the hospitality. It was a memorable evening. Or, I appreciate how accommodating you were with our dietary requests. When leaving, you can say, have a wonderful night. Or, we look forward to trying the brunch menu next time. These sentences are important for learners because they reinforce polite and socially appropriate communication, which is essential in advanced English. It is also helpful to practice unexpected situations, such as changes in your order or special requests. You can say, I just realized I forgot to mention a dislike for cilantro. Is it too late to remove it? Or, I would like to swap the French fries for a side salad if the kitchen permits. These sentences allow learners to practice problem solving and polite requests in full sentences. They also teach how to remain calm and polite when making adjustments in real-life scenarios. Advanced learners can also practice storytelling and sharing experiences in a restaurant. You can say, the last time I was here, the truffle risotto was absolutely unforgettable. Or, my colleagues and I usually choose this spot because the service is consistently swift. These sentences help learners practice past tense, descriptive language, and narrative skills in natural conversation. In some situations, you may want to ask for recommendations for future visits. You can say, could you let me know when the spring menu will be launched? Or, I would like to know if you host private events in the back room. These sentences allow learners to practice future tense and polite questioning while engaging in conversation with restaurant staff. Learning to combine questions, statements, and expressions of gratitude in full sentences helps learners communicate more fluently and naturally. As your meal continues, it is common to engage in more detailed conversations with your dining companions. You can practice asking questions and expressing opinions with complete sentences. For example, you might say, how does the texture of your steak compare to the one we had last week? Or, is the broth in your soup savory enough for your taste? These sentences encourage learners to describe tastes, textures, and overall impressions. You can also compare dishes politely by saying, I find the grilled octopus to be much more tender than I expected. Or, the vegetable medley has a nice crunch that contrasts well with the soft puree. These types of comparisons help learners practice adjectives, descriptive language, and clear expression of opinions. In addition to discussing food, it is useful to practice asking about the restaurant environment. You can say, "The lighting design here is quite modern. Do you think it sets a good mood?" Or, "I really admire the open kitchen concept. It is fun to watch the chefs work." If you notice something interesting, you can say, "I appreciate the vintage artwork on the walls." Or, "The acoustic design allows us to hear each other clearly despite the crowd." These sentences help learners practice observational language and polite commentary while remaining engaged in natural conversation. Sometimes servers offer suggestions for pairings, such as drinks or side dishes. And it is important to respond politely using full sentences. You can say, "That makes sense. I will trust your judgment and order the white wine." Or, "I appreciate the advice. I will add the roasted garlic bread to the order." Using complete sentences when responding to advice helps learners practice conversational English with confidence and clarity. It also teaches learners how to acknowledge information politely and show interest in recommendations. If you are dining with friends or colleagues, it is common to discuss shared experiences. You can say, "This tapas style of dining is great because we can all sample different flavors." Or, "I really enjoy how the large platter serves as a centerpiece for the table." These sentences allow learners to practice plural nouns, quantifiers, and polite expressions for social dining situations. You can also talk about portion sizes by saying, "The servings here are incredibly generous. We will definitely need a takeaway box." Or, "I think the tasting portions are small, but they are incredibly rich in flavor." These examples provide practical vocabulary that is useful for everyday restaurant conversations. Advanced learners can also practice expressing preferences in a polite manner. You can say, "I generally lean towards savory breakfasts rather than sweet ones." Or, "I usually enjoy a high level of spice, but I will keep it mild today to share with everyone." These sentences allow learners to practice expressing personal preferences while remaining polite and conversational. It is also important to ask questions about ingredients or preparation methods. You can say, "Is the sauce thickened with cornstarch or a dairy roux?" These questions help learners expand their vocabulary and practice asking for clarification politely in full sentences. When the server brings the check, it is common to confirm payment details politely. You can say, "I plan to pay via mobile payment. Is that accepted here?" Or, "Could you please itemize the bill so we can see the individual costs?" These sentences are practical for real-life situations and help learners practice transactional English. You can also express appreciation for the service by saying, "Thank you for checking on us so frequently. We felt very well taken care of." Or, "I really appreciate your efficiency, especially since we are in a rush." Using complete sentences like this allows learners to practice polite expressions and maintain good manners in a formal dining situation. Sometimes learners may encounter situations where they need to ask about restaurant policies or special services. You can say, "Do you have a policy regarding bringing our own wine for a corkage fee?" Or, "Is it possible to order a meal for takeaway if the kitchen is closing soon?" These sentences provide practice for using conditional forms and polite questioning. You can also ask about payment options by saying, "Do you accept foreign currency cards or digital wallets?" These sentences are useful in modern dining contexts and help learners feel confident navigating different situations in English-speaking restaurants. It is also helpful to practice describing experiences during and after the meal. You can say, "The brisket was smoked beautifully and fell off the bone." Or, "I really enjoyed the layered texture of the tiramisu." Using complete sentences to describe food and experiences allows learners to practice narrative skills and use descriptive adjectives effectively. You can also compare experiences by saying, "This bistro is far more intimate than the busy diner we went to yesterday." Or, "I think the presentation here is more artistic than most other places in the city." These sentences help learners practice comparative forms while speaking naturally. Another important skill is practicing questions and responses for follow-up visits. You can say, "Could you inform me if the seasonal menu changes next month?" Or, "I would like to know if you offer a loyalty program for frequent diners." These sentences allow learners to use future tense and polite inquiry forms. When the server answers, you can respond with appreciation by saying, "Thank you, I will keep that in mind for my next reservation." Or, "That sounds promising. I am eager to return and try the new items." These interactions help learners combine questions, responses, and expressions of gratitude in full sentences, which is essential for advanced English fluency. Learners can also practice conversations about beverages, both alcoholic and non-alcoholic. You can say, "I am in the mood for a craft beer. Do you have any local brews on tap?" Or, "Could you suggest a herbal tea to help with digestion after the meal?" When the server responds, you can say, "Thank you, I will try the local IPA you mentioned." Or, "That sounds soothing. I will have the chamomile tea." These sentences help learners practice polite questioning, responses, and ordering in full sentences while discussing drinks. You can also ask about pairings by saying, "Which dessert wine pairs best with the fruit tart?" Or, "Is there a coffee blend that complements the chocolate mousse?" These examples are useful for learners to practice advanced conversation naturally. It is common to practice giving compliments and sharing feedback after the meal. You can say, "I really enjoyed the ambiance. The playlist was excellent and not too loud." Or, "Please tell the chef that the fusion of flavors in the main dish was innovative." These sentences allow learners to practice polite praise and reinforce positive communication skills. Expressing gratitude and compliments helps learners practice full sentences that are culturally appropriate in English-speaking environments. In addition to direct dining situations, learners can also practice conversations about making special requests. You can say, "I would like to request a quiet table in the corner for a business meeting." Or, "Could you arrange for a candle on the dessert for my sister's graduation?" When the restaurant staff responds, you can say, "Thank you very much. That detail will make the evening memorable." Or, "I appreciate your flexibility. It helps us a lot." These sentences allow learners to practice combining requests, gratitude, and future plans in natural full-sentence conversation. Sometimes learners may need to clarify details about ingredients or dietary preferences. You can say, "I have a sensitivity to MSG. Could you verify if it is used in the broth?" Or, "I avoid refined sugar. Do you have desserts sweetened with natural fruit or honey?" When the server explains, you can respond with sentences like, "That works well for me. I will choose the fruit salad." Or, "Thank you. I am relieved to hear there are sugar-free options." These interactions provide excellent practice for polite questioning, understanding instructions, and expressing preferences in advanced English. Learners can also practice storytelling about previous restaurant visits. You can say, "Last month, I discovered a hidden gem of a cafe that served amazing pastries." Or, "During my last visit here, the staff surprised us with a complimentary appetizer." Using past tense and descriptive sentences allows learners to practice narrative skills while keeping the conversation engaging and natural. You can also express expectations for future visits by saying, "I hope to sample the breakfast menu next time I am in the area." Or, "I am looking forward to bringing my parents here because the quality is consistent." These sentences reinforce fluency and confidence in advanced English conversations. When dining with colleagues or clients, it is common to combine polite conversation with business language. You can say, "I hope the meal was to your liking. I selected this venue for its privacy." Or, "I wanted to find a place with prompt service so we can get back to the office on time." These sentences help learners practice combining social and professional English naturally. You can also discuss preferences with sentences like, "Do you prefer a buffet setting or a la carte dining?" Or, "I thought you might appreciate the organic ingredients they use here." Using complete sentences ensures clarity and demonstrates confidence in English communication. In advanced conversations, learners can also practice cultural comments related to dining etiquette. You can say, "In my culture, we typically share all the dishes in the center of the table." Or, "I noticed that the service style here is very formal compared to casual bistros." These sentences allow learners to practice cultural commentary, descriptive adjectives, and polite expressions. You can also discuss habits by saying, "I usually research the menu online before I arrive at a new restaurant." Or, "I prefer to ask the server for their personal favorites rather than guessing." These examples help learners practice using adverbs, modal verbs, and descriptive phrases in full sentences. It is important for advanced learners to practice polite ways to ask for modifications to dishes. For example, you can say, "I prefer my burger without the bun, wrapped in lettuce instead." Or, "I would like the salad without croutons to keep it gluten-free." Using these full sentences ensures your communication is clear and polite. When the server responds, you can continue with sentences such as, "Thank you kindly. I realize that is an extra step for the kitchen." Or, "That sounds great. I am happy to wait for the customized order." These conversations allow learners to practice conditional phrases and polite requests naturally. Learners can also practice situations involving allergies or dietary restrictions. You can say, "I am allergic to tree nuts. Can you ensure there is no cross-contamination?" Or, "I do not eat red meat. Is the burger made with beef or a plant-based substitute?" It is important to ask clearly and politely. And when the server provides suggestions, you can respond with appreciation by saying, "Thank you, that reassurance is very helpful." Or, "I am glad to hear that. I will proceed with the plant-based burger." These sentences are essential for real-life situations and help learners develop confidence speaking about personal needs in English. When visiting a restaurant, learners can also practice asking for recommendations for drinks. You can say, "Which local wine would you suggest pairing with the pasta?" Or, "I would like a low-calorie drink option. What do you have?" When the server explains the options, you can respond in full sentences such as, "Thank you, I will sip on the dry Riesling." Or, "That sounds refreshing. I will order the iced green tea." These sentences help learners practice conversational exchanges about preferences and polite acceptance of suggestions. You can also ask about pairings with sentences like, "Does this stout beer go well with the heavy stew?" Or, "Which hot beverage pairs best with the chocolate cake?" These types of questions help learners expand vocabulary naturally. It is also helpful to practice expressing opinions about the presentation of food. You can say, "The vibrant colors of this salad make it look incredibly appetizing." Or, I like the artistic drizzle of balsamic glaze on the plate. Commenting on presentation encourages learners to use descriptive adjectives, which is a common topic in advanced English restaurant conversations. You can also express opinions about taste by saying, "The spices are bold, yet they do not overpower the main ingredient." Or, "The flavors in this broth are deep and developed from slow cooking." These sentences allow learners to speak naturally about sensory experiences. During a meal, it is common to request small additional items. You can say, "Could I trouble you for a fresh set of napkins?" Or, "Would it be feasible to get a slice of lemon for my water?" These sentences are simple, but important for polite interaction and practicing full, complete sentences. You can also combine requests with gratitude by saying, "Could I please have some hot sauce? Thanks for checking on us." Or, "I would like a little more butter for the bread. I really appreciate it." Practicing these sentences reinforces politeness and natural conversational flow. Advanced learners can also practice asking for clarification about the menu. You can say, "Could you explain what sous vide means in the description of the chicken?" Or, "I am curious if the pesto sauce contains pine nuts or walnuts." When the server answers, you can respond with full sentences such as, "Thank you, that clarifies things, and I will order it." Or, "That sounds distinct. I think I will be adventurous and try it." These types of interactions allow learners to combine questioning, comprehension, and polite responses naturally. Learners can also practice discussing portions with full sentences. You can say, "Is this family-style platter too much for just 2 people?" Or, "How many tacos are included in a single order?" When the server answers, you can respond with sentences such as, "Perfect, we have a big appetite today." Or, "That works, we can order an extra side if we are still hungry." These conversations allow learners to practice quantifiers, numbers, and polite interaction in English. When dining in a group, it is common to discuss preferences politely. You can say, "I usually favor fish dishes, but I am open to sharing a steak." Or, "My friends often like to order several appetizers instead of main courses." These sentences allow learners to practice expressing preferences while considering others, which is a key skill in social English. You can also ask about dietary restrictions in a group setting by saying, "Does anyone have an aversion to seafood?" Or, "Are there enough gluten-free options for everyone in our party?" Using complete sentences in these situations reinforces natural communication. Another useful practice is asking about the chef's recommendations or specials. You can say, "What is the chef's signature creation for this evening?" Or, "Could you describe the ingredients in the soup of the day?" When the server answers, you can respond with sentences such as, "Thank you, that sounds exotic. I would like to try it." Or, "I appreciate the suggestion. I think I will stick to the regular menu today." These sentences allow learners to practice listening, understanding, and responding politely in English. It is also common to comment on the service during a meal. You can say, "The host was very welcoming when we arrived." Or, "I really appreciate how knowledgeable the waiter is about the wine list." Complimenting service allows learners to practice descriptive adjectives and polite expressions. You can also add sentences such as, "The team here works very seamlessly together." Or, I am glad the server asked about allergies before taking the order. These sentences reinforce polite conversation and cultural understanding. Learners can also practice polite ways to handle mistakes with the order. You can say, "Excuse me, I believe I asked for the dressing on the side." Or, "I ordered the sparkling water, but this seems to be still water." When the server corrects the mistake, you can respond with sentences like, "Thank you very much, no harm done." Or, "That is perfect. Thank you for fixing it so quickly." These interactions help learners practice problem solving in English with politeness and confidence. When finishing the meal, learners can practice asking for the bill politely. You can say, "Could we settle the tab now, please?" Or, "I am ready to head out. Could you print the receipt?" If paying by card, you can add sentences such as, "I would like to use a corporate card for this expense." Or, "Could you split the bill evenly 3 ways?" These sentences provide practice for transactional English and real-life situations. You can also express appreciation for the meal by saying, "Thank you very much. The fusion of flavors was remarkable." Or, "I really enjoyed everything. Please tell the manager the service was top-notch." It is also useful to practice leaving polite farewells. You can say, "Enjoy the rest of your evening." Or, "I look forward to trying the patio seating next time." These sentences help learners practice natural conversation endings and cultural etiquette in English-speaking countries. You can also add sentences like, "Thank you for accommodating our large group so well." Or, "It was a pleasure dining here. We will be back for the live music." These examples reinforce positive communication and polite social skills. Advanced learners can also practice conversations about reservations over the phone. You can say, "Hello, I would like to book a table for brunch this coming Sunday." Or, "I am calling to reserve a private room for a retirement party." When confirming, you can say, "Thank you, I will arrive at 7 p.m. sharp." Or, "I look forward to the experience. See you then." These sentences allow learners to practice polite phone and transactional conversations. Learners can also practice asking about payment methods before arriving. You can say, "Do you accept digital wallet payments like Apple Pay?" Or, "Is it possible to pay with a check for a corporate event?" These sentences are useful in modern restaurants and allow learners to practice asking practical questions politely. You can also combine questions with gratitude by saying, "Thank you. I wanted to verify the payment policy beforehand." Or, "I appreciate your help clarifying that. I am looking forward to dining." When discussing drinks, learners can practice advanced sentences. You can say, "I would like a glass of Cabernet. Which vintage do you have?" Or, "Could you suggest a citrus-based cocktail?" You can respond with sentences like, "Thank you, I will try the house red." Or, "That sounds tart and tasty. I will have the lime spritzer." You can also ask about pairings politely by saying, "Which beer pairs best with the spicy wings?" Or, "Is there a specific tea that complements the cheesecake?" These sentences allow learners to practice ordering beverages and discussing preferences naturally. It is also helpful to practice expressing opinions about the atmosphere in full sentences. You can say, "The restaurant has a rustic charm that feels authentic." Or, "I really like the minimalism of the decor. It feels clean and airy." You can also comment on decoration by saying, "The fresh flowers on the table are a lovely detail." Or, The view from the window adds so much to the experience. These sentences allow learners to practice descriptive language in natural conversation. As your dining experience continues, it is common to practice polite conversation when asking about the menu in more detail. You can say, "Could you tell me if the vegetables are locally sourced?" Or, "I am curious if the pasta is made with egg or if it is semolina based." When the server explains, you can respond with sentences such as, "That sounds high quality. I think I will try it." Or, "Thank you for explaining. It helps me decide." Using full sentences like this allows learners to practice comprehension, polite questioning, and natural responses. You can also ask about portion sizes in a respectful way by saying, "Is the ribeye steak a large cut?" Or, "How many skewers come with the sauté appetizer?" These sentences help learners use quantifiers and numbers accurately in English conversations. During the meal, you may want to compliment the presentation of food. You can say, "The plating is very sophisticated. It looks like a work of art." Or, "I like the contrast of colors on the plate. It is very striking." Commenting on presentation helps learners practice descriptive adjectives and polite observation skills. You can also discuss taste by saying, "The lamb is cooked to a perfect medium and is very juicy." Or, "The mousse has a silky texture that melts in the mouth." These sentences encourage learners to describe sensory experiences in detail while speaking fluently. When requesting additional items, learners can practice combining requests with gratitude. You can say, "Could I please have a refill on the water? Thank you kindly." Or, "Would it be possible to get some extra Parmesan? I really appreciate it." Using complete sentences ensures that communication is polite and clear. You can also request small modifications by saying, "I would like the burger without the bun, wrapped in lettuce." Or, "Could the dressing be served on the side, please?" These sentences allow learners to practice polite conditional requests. Advanced learners can practice handling special situations such as food allergies. You can say, "I am allergic to soy. Could you identify which dishes are soy-free?" Or, "I have a lactose intolerance. Is there dairy in this sauce?" When the server answers, you can respond with full sentences like, "Thank you. That safety information is crucial for me." Or, "I am glad you have options. I will take the grilled chicken." Practicing these sentences helps learners communicate clearly and confidently about personal dietary needs. It is common to ask for recommendations about beverages in restaurants. You can say, "Could you suggest a beer that isn't too bitter?" Or, "I would like a smoothie. What fresh fruits do you have today?" When the server responds, you can say, "Thank you. I will try the wheat beer." Or, "That sounds healthy. I will have the berry blend." You can also ask about pairings by saying, "Which drink complements the spicy curry best?" Or, "Is there a coffee that pairs well with the brownie?" These conversations allow learners to practice vocabulary for drinks and polite responses naturally. During a meal, learners can also discuss dining experiences with their companions. You can say, "I really like the crispiness of the pizza crust. It is baked well." Or, "The marinade on the beef is savory and rich." You can compare dishes politely by saying, I think the shrimp scampi is more flavorful than the lobster bisque. Or, in my opinion, the vegetable stir-fry is fresher and tastier than the fried rice. These sentences encourage descriptive and comparative language in natural conversation. When paying the bill, learners can practice polite and clear phrases. You can say, "Could I have the receipt for accounting purposes, please?" Or, "I am ready to close the tab. Could you bring the machine?" If paying by card, you can add sentences such as, "I would like to pay by credit card." Or, "Could you charge half to this card and half to cash?" These sentences are practical for real-life situations and help learners practice transactional English. You can also combine appreciation by saying, "Thank you very much. The ambiance and food were superb." Or, "I really enjoyed my meal. Please give my compliments to the kitchen staff." Learners can practice making reservations politely over the phone. You can say, "Hello, I would like to reserve a booth for 2 people this Friday." Or, "I am calling to book a table for an anniversary dinner next week." When confirming, you can say, "Thank you, I will be there at 7 p.m." Or, "I look forward to our evening at your restaurant." These sentences help learners practice polite telephone and transactional conversation. You can also ask questions about table location by saying, "Is it possible to have a table away from the kitchen noise?" Or, "Could we sit near the fireplace if it is active?" These sentences help learners practice polite inquiry and expressing preferences. Advanced learners can also discuss feedback about meals with the staff. You can say, "The risotto was creamy and the mushrooms were earthy and delicious." Or, "I really enjoyed the sushi platter. The fish was incredibly fresh." You can provide feedback about the service by saying, "The hostess was very organized and polite." Or, "I appreciate the fast service considering how busy it is." These sentences help learners practice polite compliments and constructive feedback in full sentences. It is also important to practice polite farewells. You can say, "Have a pleasant night," or "I hope to dine here again very soon." You can also combine appreciation with farewell by saying, "Thank you for your warm hospitality. I enjoyed the evening." Or, "It was a treat dining here. Please thank the team for me." These sentences reinforce cultural etiquette and help learners practice ending conversations naturally. When dining with a group, learners can practice polite discussion about shared meals. You can say, "This charcuterie board is great for grazing. It has a nice selection." Or, "I really like the nachos. They are loaded with toppings." You can also ask questions about preferences by saying, "Does anyone prefer red wine over white?" Or, "Who wants to split the molten cake dessert?" These sentences allow learners to practice group communication, quantifiers, and polite interaction. Learners can also discuss future visits and expectations. You can say, "I am looking forward to seeing the seasonal decorations next time." Or, "I hope to visit this restaurant again to try the breakfast menu." You can also ask for suggestions by saying, "Which appetizers do you recommend I try next time?" Or, "Are there any holiday events planned for next month?" These sentences allow learners to practice future tense, polite inquiry, and planning in full sentences. It is useful to practice detailed conversations about drinks and pairings. You can say, "I would like a glass of sparkling rosé. Which brand do you serve?" Or, "Could you suggest a mocktail that isn't too sweet?" You can respond naturally by saying, "Thank you, I will try the brut." Or, "That sounds balanced. I will have the ginger fizz." You can also ask about pairings with dessert by saying, "Which port wine complements the cheese board?" Or, "Is there a recommended tea for this pastry?" These sentences allow learners to practice advanced vocabulary and polite exchanges. Learners can also practice storytelling about previous dining experiences. You can say, "Last week, I visited a fusion restaurant and the sushi tacos were unique. Or, during my last visit here, I tried the clam chowder and it was very creamy. You can also express expectations about future visits by saying, I hope to catch the live jazz band next time. Or, I am looking forward to visiting again for the weekend brunch. These sentences help learners practice past and future tense descriptive language and narrative skills while speaking fluently. During dining, learners can practice discussing the atmosphere and ambiance. You can say, the restaurant has a vibrant energy. It feels lively and fun. Or, I like the velvet seating. It makes the place feel luxurious. You can also comment on decoration by saying, the china patterns are very classic and pretty. Or, the mural on the wall is a great conversation starter. These sentences help learners practice descriptive language and cultural observation in natural conversation. Advanced learners can practice polite questions about services. You can say, do you have high chairs available for toddlers? Or, is it possible to validate parking for guests? You can also ask about payment methods by saying, do you accept traveler's checks? Or, can I pay via the restaurant's app? When the server answers, you can respond with sentences like, thank you, I wanted to be prepared. Or, I appreciate your help. I will see you on Saturday. These sentences allow learners to combine polite questioning, comprehension, and gratitude naturally. It is important to practice giving compliments to the chef or staff in complete sentences. You can say, I want to compliment the chef. The reduction sauce was exquisite. Or, please tell the chef that I really enjoyed the vegan option. It was creative. You can also praise the service by saying, the staff was very proactive with refills. I appreciate that. Or, I enjoyed my experience. The timing of the courses was perfect. These sentences reinforce polite communication and cultural etiquette in English-speaking restaurants. Learners can also practice combining multiple sentences naturally. You can say, I really enjoyed the starter. The crispy texture was excellent, and I appreciate how fresh the greens were. Or, the steak was seared beautifully, the crust was flavorful, and the service was impeccable. These longer sentences help learners practice connecting ideas, fluency, and advanced English structures. When dining in a restaurant, it is useful to practice conversations about specials and limited-time menu items. You can say, could you outline the details of the holiday menu? Or, I am curious if you are serving any game meat this season. When the server explains, you can respond with sentences such as, that sounds rare. I think I will try it. Or, thank you. I appreciate the insight. I will order that dish. Practicing these sentences helps learners combine listening comprehension with polite responses, and it also improves vocabulary for describing food. You can also ask about preparation by saying, is the bread baked in a wood-fired oven? Or, are the noodles hand-pulled on site? These questions allow learners to use more advanced sentence structures and demonstrate curiosity and engagement during conversation. Learners can practice discussing portion sizes and sharing dishes in polite ways. You can say, is this paella large enough to share between 2 people? Or, how many pieces come in the sushi roll? When the server answers, you can respond naturally with sentences like, "That is plenty, we will share it." Or, "Thank you, that size is manageable for me." These exchanges help learners practice quantifiers, numbers, and polite communication in practical dining situations. You can also comment on shared dishes by saying, "The dip trio is perfect for sharing. It offers different tastes." Or, "I think the whole fish is substantial. We can enjoy it together." It is common to practice making modifications to orders in restaurants. You can say, "I would like the salad without bacon bits. Is that possible?" Or, "Could I get the potatoes mashed instead of roasted?" When the server confirms, you can respond with sentences such as, "Thank you very much. That is very kind of you." Or, "That sounds perfect. I appreciate the flexibility." These sentences teach learners how to combine conditional requests with polite language. You can also ask about ingredients by saying, "Does this curry contain shrimp paste?" Or, "Are there any raw eggs in this dessert?" These questions are essential for learners who want to practice safety and dietary communication in restaurants. Advanced learners can practice giving opinions about taste and flavor. You can say, "The glaze is perfectly caramelized. It adds a nice crunch." Or, "I really enjoy the fluffiness of the pancakes. They are very light." You can compare flavors politely by saying, "In my opinion, the spicy tuna roll is more exciting than the California roll." Or, "The tart is more sour than I expected, but it is refreshing." These sentences allow learners to practice descriptive adjectives, comparisons, and clear expression of personal opinions in full sentences. It is also useful to practice expressing gratitude throughout the meal. You can say, "Thank you very much for the extra towels. I really appreciate it." Or, "I am grateful for the customized order. Everything was correct." You can also combine gratitude with compliments by saying, "Thank you. The food was hot and the plating was neat." Or, "I appreciate your advice. The wine pairing made the meal even more enjoyable." Using full sentences to express gratitude helps learners develop politeness and fluency in advanced English conversations. Learners can practice polite interactions about beverages as well. You can say, "I would like a glass of sparkling water. Which brand do you carry?" Or, "Could you suggest a fruit juice that isn't from concentrate?" When the server responds, you can say, "Thank you. I will try the local brand." Or, "That sounds natural. I will have the orange juice." You can also ask about pairings with sentences like, "Which beverage goes best with the cheese fondue?" Or, "Is there a recommended liqueur for after dinner?" These sentences allow learners to practice vocabulary for drinks and polite inquiry in full sentences. When discussing the dining experience with companions, learners can practice natural conversation. You can say, "I really like the smokiness in the barbecue ribs. It is very authentic." Or, "The fish was flaky and moist. I cannot wait to try the dessert." You can also comment on atmosphere by saying, "The restaurant feels very intimate and romantic." Or, "I like the acoustic guitar player. It makes the dining experience very soothing." These sentences allow learners to practice descriptive language and observational skills in full sentences. Learners can also practice conversations about payment and tipping. You can say, "Could I have the itemized bill, please?" Or, "I am ready to settle the account. Could you bring the terminal?" If paying by card, you can add sentences such as, "I would like to use a prepaid card." Or, "Could you put the appetizers on this card?" You can also practice leaving a tip by saying, "I would like to leave a cash tip on the table." Or, "Please round up the total to include the gratuity." Using full sentences for payment and tipping helps learners practice transactional English and cultural etiquette naturally. It is useful to practice storytelling about previous dining experiences. You can say, "Last week I visited a pop-up restaurant and the street food was incredible." Or, "During my last visit here, I tried the seasonal pumpkin soup and it was very comforting." You can also discuss expectations for future visits by saying, "I am looking forward to bringing my partner here next time." Or, "I hope to visit again because the service is consistently friendly." These sentences help learners practice past and future tense descriptive language and narrative skills while speaking fluently. Learners can practice polite questioning about menu details. You can say, "Could you tell me if the fish is grilled or fried?" Or, "I would like to know if the curry is very spicy." When the server answers, you can respond naturally with sentences such as, "Thank you, that sounds healthy. I will order it." Or, "I appreciate the warning. I will try the milder dish." These exchanges allow learners to practice comprehension, listening skills, and full sentence responses in advanced English conversation. It is common to practice polite commentary about service. You can say, "The staff is very efficient and well-trained." Or, "I appreciate the suggestion about the daily special. It was a great choice." You can also add sentences such as, "The server was very patient with our questions." Or, "I enjoyed how synchronized the service was." These sentences help learners practice observation, descriptive language, and cultural etiquette in restaurants. During dining, learners can practice polite requests for small additions. You can say, "Could I have a toothpick, please?" Or, "Would it be possible to get a to-go box?" You can combine requests with gratitude by saying, "I would like some extra ice. Thank you very much." Or, "Could I have a little more gravy? I appreciate it." Using full sentences for small requests reinforces politeness and natural conversational skills. Learners can also practice handling mistakes politely. You can say, "Excuse me, I think I was charged for an item I didn't order. Could you check?" Or, "I ordered the iced tea, but this seems to be soda." When the server corrects the mistake, you can respond with sentences like, "Thank you very much. I appreciate the correction." Or, "That is perfect. I am happy with the bill now." These conversations allow learners to practice problem solving, politeness, and complete sentence structure. Advanced learners can also practice special requests for celebrations. You can say, "I would like to request a quiet table for a proposal. Could you help me with that?" Or, "Could you keep the cake hidden until after the meal, please?" When the staff responds, you can say, "Thank you very much. That will make the surprise perfect." Or, "I really appreciate your discretion. It means a lot." These sentences allow learners to combine requests, gratitude, and explanations naturally in full sentences. Learners can also practice polite commentary about restaurant culture. You can say, "In some places, service charge is automatically included." Or, "I noticed that the cutlery here is polished to a shine." You can also discuss habits by saying, "I usually read reviews before I visit a restaurant." Or, "I prefer to dine early to avoid the crowds." These sentences allow learners to practice descriptive language, cultural commentary, and complete sentences in advanced English conversation. Thank you for joining me for this in-depth practice session here on English in Moments. I hope this lesson has not only expanded your vocabulary, but also given you the poise to handle any dining situation, from a casual lunch to a formal dinner, with total fluency. The key to mastering these phrases is consistent practice, so try using them the next time you discuss food or dining. Don't forget to subscribe to stay updated with our daily lessons as we continue to build your English skills one moment at a time. I look forward to speaking with you in the next episode. Have a wonderful day and happy dining.